Hey, Chris.
Hey, is this Congressman Golden?
Sure is.
Hey, Congressman, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Yourself?
I am doing well. I really appreciate you making some time to talk to us about this. I know it's been a long process so far, and I know it's not over. So, do you want to just kind of launch right into it?
Sure. I mean, I think you just got it spot on. The process is not over yet. This bill is going to go forward to the United States Senate. They're surely going to debate it. I have no doubt they will make some changes to it, at which point, if they pass it, it will come back to the House. I am advocating strongly that when this bill gets to the Senate, they remove a big tax break for millionaires,
Right.
$285 billion in total. That is a larger cost than any other provision in this bill. It is more in tax breaks for millionaires than assistance for seniors with home health care, more than we would give assistance to middle-class families for child care or for the child tax credit, which is only for a year. This tax break for millionaires is over the next 5 years. This is a huge flaw in the bill, and one that is late developing. It was only inserted into the bill about a little over a week ago. I think it was a terrible policy decision and even worse politics.
So, Congressman, let me ask you this: if the final version comes back to the House and it still includes the SALT, as it's called, will that be a tipping point for you? Will you not vote for it if it still includes the SALT provision?
I'm always careful not to, tie myself into knots here, Chris, because there's ways to make fixes to this SALT deduction that would make sure that it truly would only benefit middle-class households. You could say, you know what, this cap on deductions, we're going to get rid of that cap for families making less than, insert whatever you think, Chris, it makes for a middle class, household. It might be different if you're living in Maine as opposed to somewhere in New York City. But certainly, I think we can all agree that we shouldn't be giving this tax benefit to two-thirds of millionaires in this country, and they are going to benefit by tens of thousands of dollars. While middle-class households that are impacted by this deduction cap are generally impacted by like 20 to a couple of $100. So you can see how big that difference is. So there's ways that the deduction could remain in the bill to the benefit of those middle class families without giving this big tax break to millionaires. So I got to wait and see what the Senate does, and that's true of the entire bill. I always think it's a mistake, particularly on very large bills like this, to make commitments before the process is played out and you know exactly what it is that you're voting for. There's a lot I like in this bill. There's still some big problems with it.
Well, totally understand that point of view. So then let me ask you this: what are the parts that you would be averse to the Senate removing? Would it be some of the climate change provisions? Would it be the universal PreK? What are those provisions that you say are a must keep?
To be honest, I really love the PreK provision. I think that would be great for Maine, great for the entire country. I like the Medicare negotiations. This is going to have the federal government negotiating with pharmaceutical companies for lower drug prices for our Medicare beneficiaries. It also will cap our seniors' out-of-pocket costs for prescription medications on an annual basis. Some medications they need to take can be unaffordable, and so that cap, I think, is very significant. It doesn't kick in until 2024. I'd like it to kick in just a few weeks from now on January 1st. That's a change I want to see the Senate make. Of course, they got to find some revenue in order to do that. Again, we could take that away from this tax break for millionaires, give it to seniors instead. The child tax credit, very important, I believe, particularly making sure that it is kept permanent as it is in regards to it being fully refundable. But the portion that increases that monthly benefit for young families with children to $3,600, $3,000 for other households is only good for 1 year. So I don't want to see any of that removed, but I do see room for improvement.
Did I understand you correctly, Congressman? You're saying you do want to see that be a permanent tax credit as opposed to the way it's listed right now for just it's going to only go for 1 year.
Certainly longer than 1 year, and you could find revenue to do it for more than 1 year. Again, maybe a good place to start is saying, let's not give this tax break to millionaires.
Totally understand. Congressman, what happens now between you and your colleagues as you wait for the Senate to debate this and go over what they will then end up presenting to you and your colleagues, hopefully within, a couple of days or within a week? What happens now? Is there more negotiation that happens between you and your colleagues, or is it a wait-and-see process?
I would say that this is a weeks-long process, not days. This is going to take a while, so there's still a lot of time left to engage with my colleagues. I will continue to meet with individuals in the White House who are negotiating with the Congress on this bill, as I have been for many weeks, in advocating for other changes, some of which have been made, others not. But the process isn't finished, and I'm going to continue to advocate for the very best public policy for my constituents and for the country until the very end.
Congressman, I did want to ask you quickly about the PreK in particular. I know that's something that you're in favor of. As you know, it's no secret, Maine has a lot of child care deserts, as they call them, basically areas where there is not sufficient PreK for families. Obviously, this has a snowball effect. Families either needing to hire somebody to take care of their kids, or families having to make a choice with having one parent stay home, or potentially involving other extended family members to be involved in this process, which, as you know, takes away from people being able to work, contribute to the economy, and then spend their money in the economy. Is there anything else that you would see? Is there another situation where you would see maybe the PreK being passed in a separate measure outside of the Build Back Better? Because I know that for some people that's been kind of a sticking point. They feel that the bill's too expensive.
I think that there's been a lot of support stated through the years for giving states more resources for PreK programs. Obviously, it hasn't been enough, and I really can't speak to whether or not, in this Congress anyways, there would be enough votes to do something like that. I would hope so. But I'd like to see it stay in this bill, and we'll have to see what happens in the Senate. But you're right in the child care gaps that you're talking about, and one good way to get at that, of course, is to have a public education system that's available to every American child beginning at the age of 3 or 4.
All right. Congressman, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Is there anything else we haven't covered that you wanted to make sure you mentioned?
Nah, I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, and we'll see you up there sometime.
All right. Sounds good, Congressman. Thank you. Take care.
You too.